Hi, this is Dale Flatt. Welcome again to another episode of Code Compliance and the City of Austin and Joe Fairview. We are today at the Longview Cemetery, which is in southwest Austin, just east of Brody. And here you're looking at part of the only part that survives, the visible part that survives of the Longview Cemetery. This is the Bardsley family plot. A couple of these folks here, Sarah and Ada, died in the tornado of May the 4th of 1922, and they're here. But the reason this story is important is the city purchased this property. It's a 5-acre cemetery, and then proceeded to build a basketball court on the property. You can clearly see this on the Joe Fairview website. Go to Longview Cemetery, and you'll see that this part of the basketball court, I'll show you through a visual representation of an aerial photograph and the plat maps, that this is actually built on the cemetery grounds. And that the city of Austin purchased this property in 1981 and then allowed this whole area here just to go back to the wild, forgetting about the old cemetery, so they didn't have to maintain it anymore, which is, you know, the owner of a cemetery has to maintain the property. Owner of any property has to be maintained. So we're gonna walk through here. You can see there's a trail here. There were just a few headstones here several years ago when I started doing cemetery work. I visited the site well before it was overgrown to this extent. I've not been out here for years. On the Joe Fairview webpage, we will talk about, again, here's the back side of it here. We'll talk about this site. I'll give you some links to where family members have posted some things. Sun's still kind of high in the day, but when you come out here in the evenings, in the past, you can see through here in the woods, you can actually see the depressions of old grave sites. Right now, this is overgrown. It's more of a wilderness area instead of a respectful cemetery that used to serve the needs of the families out here. But again, it's a 5-acre plot. It can never be used for anything other than a cemetery. You can see over in here, we're starting to see some stones, some cut stones, limestone pieces that can be indicative of old walls and things like that that used to surround gravestones. But this is another example of how the city of Austin will develop without permits. Oh, this is fun. What do we have here? This is obviously lined. I don't think that's a grave, but it very easily could be a grave here. And then you start walking back this direction and you see areas like this here, and I know it's not going to show up well, but you have an obvious grave depression right here. It's an oblong thing lined up east and west. I see old mattress springs back up in here. So again, this isn't a park. This is an historic cemetery that the city of Austin has allowed to become a dumping site. And just totally forgotten about and totally disrespectful to the families. But the big concern here is there are lots of these old cemeteries in Travis County. But why did they build a basketball court? So we're going to do an open records request. We're going to put this in the faithful hand of our friends at Code Compliance. And we're going to ask to see the permits for the development of Longview Park. We've already got the plat records. We're going to go back to the original deeds when the city bought it to ensure that there is, the city did know that this was a cemetery. Of course, when you walk out there and you see the Bardsley family plot, it's kind of hard to say that it wasn't. Here's the back fence line, and it looks like this isn't a committed walking trail, but it is a trail of sorts. So, again, Austin Code Compliance and Joe Fairview, obviously we have a piece of property here that is a cemetery that has been used as a dump site in the past. There's a basketball court on it, It could be that we have some areas back in here. We've seen some depressions. Let's get the city of Austin to come in here and take responsibility for the old burials in here and protect them like state law says they should. Whether it means fencing the cemetery off and cleaning it up, or just fencing it off and not letting anybody come back in here. Last thing I think anybody wants is somebody to come back in here and start looting graves. Obviously, you could come back in here and not be seen. If this is a park, I don't think this is a safe environment for kiddos either. Anyway, I can ramble all day. This is Dale Flat with Joe Fairview. We'll go over to Garrison Park and look at the next city cemetery that's been, the next cemetery on city property that's been desecrated.